TGR News, broadcasting from the State of Israel.
Welcome back to TGR News.
Hello, hello.
Well, and all this horrible stuff that's been going on with Ukraine and Putin, we've still been able to do a great blessing in passing out the food here in Israel. And we will be doing it no matter what. I know a lot of guys might have watched the previous video we put out where I talked about the very high possibility that we may have to go and save Jews with the boats. And even if that does happen, the food will be getting passed out because the rest of the family's here and they will do it every week.
They trust us to get the food.
Yeah, they count on us.
They count on us,
on all of us
to
get their food.
Them.
Absolutely, Ola. And and like I said last week, just for your information, nothing more, but just for your information, we've gotten with deals now with everything where it takes about $200 now to feed a family for the month. And it doesn't mean you need to have if you can't donate $200, then every little bit helps. Everything goes towards these people that you give for that reason, and we really appreciate it, and thank you very much, and they thank you very much, and God bless you. And just like we know, God said He would bless those that bless Israel, and curse those that curse Israel. Well, let's get into it.
Yeah, we have a lot
to talk about. Yeah. Well, when Putin started this war on Ukraine, he opened it up on three fronts. It was he attacked from the north, from the south, and from the east. He did it by air attacks, paratroopers, and missiles, and the Navy from the Black Sea. He wiped out a Ukrainian military base on the western border and two airports. In the clips coming out of the war zone, you see fighter jets flying super low, breaking the speed of sound, and firing missiles almost like in between the buildings, right? And I'm gonna tell you, I know a little bit about military. There is zero reason. There is no reason why you should tactically to bring your planes down that low to fight a fight from the air. There is no reason. The only reason you do that is when you're using fear tactics, and you're just trying to cause mass fear and panic with the people.
Exactly.
And that's all he's doing. That's the only thing he's doing. So when you see all those videos, those clips of fighter jets flying down low like that, that's what he's doing. Only that. Because there's no military tactics to be won there in that way. So that in itself tells you pretty much the story, from looking from the outside, what's going on there.
Yeah. The Ukrainian president told the public that any citizen that joined the fight against Russia will have all his debts erased. And while the masses were leaving Ukraine, they made the men from 18 to 60 stay and fight. They don't let them leave Ukrainian border.
Yes, it's that's the two things he did. The President Zelensky, he made it where no man from 18 to 60 can leave the country. With all the refugees that are fleeing, they can't go, meaning they have to break up the families. And he promised to wipe their debts clean if they fight. That's why when you look at the videos and clips coming out of the Poland and Romania from the refugees coming across the border, that's why you see always women, children, and elderly people. It's that's become the sad picture of this war, is all the women and kids over the border just trying to stay warm, trying to find food, well, it's bad. We don't know how long it's going to take to get this over and done with, but we'll see what's coming up next. Iran is calling Putin the father of the Middle East. The Iranian president said that after Biden's nuclear deal, it's obvious how weak America is, calling Russia to go ahead and just take control of this part of the world. Iran's saying, Russia's now is the father of the Middle East.
Yeah.
It's Biden made a speech where he talked about all the things he was going to do to his new speech, right, to Putin, right. So that's right after that is when Iran made his statements and talked about how weak America is, and it's time for Russia to stand up and take control over this part of the world.
Yeah.
When Putin's army was a few miles out of Kiev, the Ukrainian capital, Friday night, Putin called the Ukrainian soldiers to turn and take control of their countries and make a military coup. He's grasping at straws. You know, it really is. He really is grasping at straws. It seems like we all believed that this war would have been over much sooner because we all thought big Russia, and little Ukraine didn't have a chance against big Russia, but now Russia's in it, got 120,000 troops inside Ukraine. They got Belarus joined in, Chechnya joined in, and it just doesn't. Maybe there's a lesson to be learned here. Maybe as much as we think that Russia's big and strong, they might not be as big and strong as we thought. It's just a possibility. Maybe, unless you want to believe that he's just taking it easy on people because he's a nice guy and he doesn't. He's trying to be nice as he takes over the country. So I don't know. Maybe he is. It's just a thought. It's either that or I don't know that like I said, he's being a nice guy while doing all this thing, and he's just not using everything he's got. Right. Well, we do know he's not using long-range missiles to flatten the city because, yes, of course, he has that ability. Or nuclear weapons yet. Of course, we know he has that ability as well. But I'm just talking about the military strength, the ability to go in by foot and take control of something like what's going on right now.
Yeah, if we're talking about nuclear weapon, after the failure of not being able to take Kiev or any other large city, the Ukrainian army held Russia off for the fourth day. On Sunday, Putin started threatening to use nuclear weapons.
Exactly. That was just another grasp I don't know, just me. It might just be me. Leave a comment. Tell me what you guys think. But when a guy brings in two more countries, starts threatening with nuclear weapons, it seems like a guy who's desperate to win, and he's having a hard time winning against a little Ukraine. That's my opinion. Really, I really want you guys to comment about that. Tell me what you think, because I'd like to hear it. Definitely. On Friday, the president of Ukraine asked Prime Minister Bennett to be a mediator between him and Putin. It was Sunday night when he finally answered him, and he tried to arrange a meeting between the two of them. Now, he tried to arrange the meeting in Belarus. This was before Belarus declared war also against Ukraine. So I guess, but still, Prime Minister Bennett is still trying to do talks between the two of them, which sounds good, but you can't have peace talks when one of them, especially the one that doesn't want peace, is Putin. You got to have two people who are willing to start talking peace talks before you can start talking ceasefires and peace talks and deals. Which I don't really think. Well, I don't even think there should be a deal. Ukraine should be forced out and go back to the way it was. And there shouldn't be no new deal now where Ukraine is partially under Russian control Well, President Biden is putting pressure on Israel along with NATO to make us take a strong stance against Russia. I don't understand that because we made an official statement just like Biden did that Putin is the bad guy and no, right? Now, plus Biden is asking us to fight his battle when he hasn't left us all stranded alone with the nuclear deal in Iran.
Iran, exactly.
Well, Biden did put in sanctions and everything, and we're not fighting the sanctions or anything like that. So, I don't understand what he's asking from us. What does he want us to do? Well, you want us to step in and fight what you should be fighting when you're leaving us alone and abandoning us with a deal with Iran and a nuclear deal? Take a look around, see what you're doing before you start asking us to do something.
Yeah. On the sixth day of this war, when Putin didn't achieve what he wanted, he changed his tactics to start targeting civilian targets, with now thousands of civilian lives lost, including children.
Wow, it's so sad. Putin has turned his tactics to actually the first one was the big apartment building. I'm sure we've all seen the video. And if you look on the map around that building, there is no military targets nearby. There's nothing that you could say even by a couple miles that he missed his target. That was straight to the point, just to aim at citizens.
It's a plain terror.
Yeah, it's terrorism. Absolute terrorism. You're absolutely correct, Ola. That's what it is. It's absolute terrorism. And then ever since that first shot, it's just slowly, like a snowball, getting more and more attacks to where now we see he's even taking out city halls and everything else and shooting. Just now he doesn't even have to. Now he's not even acting like he ain't even trying to shoot at the civilians. Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has actually many government officials in Poland on the border getting Israelis back home and taking all the Jews that want to come to Israel. They are cutting all the red tape for Aliyah. You know, anyone who was a Jew is not an Israeli in Ukraine coming across now. It's usually a fairly long process to make Aliyah, to prove that you're Jewish, prove this, prove that, prove, before you can make Aliyah. Aliyah is becoming a citizen of Israel because of your right of being here because you're a Jew. So Israel's cut all the red tape out. Now anyone who's a Jew, they even just say they're a Jew, I think even.
Grandfather or grandfather.
Just basically.
Great.
They're bringing them over, helping them out, giving them a place to stay, teaching them Hebrew, just like what they always do for people who make Aliyah. And there's no other country in the world right now who is so active at the borders, getting their people out of there like Israel. But Israel's always done that, and Israel always, I'm sure, hopefully will continue to do that. So, but this piece of information is very important for our ministry. That's exactly what I was talking about in my last video. We will, absolutely no questions about it, go and get Jews and bring them home when needed. But right now, like that, what's going on right now is not needed. As long as the Jews are able to get out of the country to the bordering countries, because once they're out of Ukraine, they're out of the danger and they get on a plane and they fly here, right? So as long as that's the fact, that's the way it is, then we don't have to do anything just yet. But there is a very high possibility that Russia, when they do finally take over the Ukraine, which is it's going to happen, unless the world kicks in or something against Putin. So when they do take control, the question is, are they going to close the borders? Are they not going to allow anybody out? And when they're not allowing anybody out, what are they going to be doing? How are they going to be acting towards them? That's the situation that we're preparing for. And if you haven't watched that video I'm talking about, just go back and look at it. It's just the video right before this one. I talk about how we're getting ready for that situation exactly. Yeah. Well, we all know about the convoy of military equipment that Putin had put in place a few days ago. Well, going on the 9th day, the 60-kilometer convoy of military equipment is still stuck on the way to Kiev. And this is, again, what I talked about before. It's very apparent. Putin was not ready or understood, maybe he don't even understood what was needed for such a long convoy, logistically, to make such a long convoy. You know, on such a long trip, you're going to have tank tracks come off. You're going to have tires that need to be changed. You got to change fuel. You're going to have a few problems with some motors on the way. You're going to have some injuries, and it's logistically complicated to be able to support such a convoy, military speaking. And it was just another one where it showed that he wasn't ready. The convoy's still stuck right there. Now, why Ukraine's not attacking it when they're sitting ducks, that's a whole other question. That I don't understand either. But this convoy, and plus in the convoy, most of the equipment was made in the 70s. When you look at the pictures, you can see very clearly the equipment, the tanks, the APCs, the trucks. I mean, it's very old equipment.
Yeah.
You know, so obviously was another error in judgment. When you have such old equipment, you definitely need some thinking logistically. How do you keep this thing going, right? So for
Exactly.
days, it's been stuck in the same
Yeah.
spot, which is when they do, if and when they do get it moving and back up going, it's going to be pretty bad once that amount of soldiers makes it into Kiev, or like we said, it's obvious that Ukraine is going to fall. It's just a matter of when, not if,
Yeah.
unless NATO and America and the rest of the world steps in.
Yeah.
Which most likely won't happen, because if that does happen, we know that's the best combination there for World War III. So we got to pray for the people in Ukraine and your uncle and your family. You have family in all three countries. You have family.
I have family in Russia and Belarus and in Ukraine. And in Russia, they suffer now from poverty because the ruble fell, and the money is really bad situation. It's like they're not rich people, but in Russia you have all these oligarchs, very rich people, and you have also the regular people which
peasants.
are just living from paycheck to paycheck.
Yes.
And now they really fighting for getting food and everything. In Belarus, I have most of my family, and it's hard. They're okay, but it's just hard for me to think like they join Russia to attack Ukraine.
Your family in Belarus, Russia, and definitely your family in Ukraine, they're all against this aggression.
Yeah, for sure, of course.
Which most of the people in all three countries are against.
It's actually telling you the story of the Russian, Ukrainian, and Belarusian people. They all kind of one nation, because my family is spread between them, because USSR
was family in all
three
countries, exactly.
And Ukrainian, they're really in bad situation. They're very next to Kherson, the city that suffers a lot now, and they see broken houses, explosions, and they starve. And sometimes we don't have connection with them because. And also today I discovered that one of my father's family.
Your father's brother, your uncle.
His nephew died.
Oh yeah,
30 years old. I don't know what situation. We barely speak to them because it's really hard to speak to them. The internet is really bad. I'm just praying that the Russians that took over will treat them okay.
Yeah, that's the whole point. That's the whole question. What's going to happen after?
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
Now, Ola's haven't been sleeping well. She's because of this.
Yeah, you can tell I'm not in my best. But I'm just thinking, how can I smuggle them to Polish border or something? But my father brother is 52.
They wouldn't let him out.
They won't let him out.
Yeah, they won't let him out because he's
they just
between
scared.
the ages.
They're scared to leave the house. And also they're scared to leave their house because they think while they're on the roads they can be attacked because people just shouldn't.
Yeah.
So
very dangerous to be leaving the house. Yeah. Well, they are going out to get food and water every day, or every day they can. But this it really is a tough situation, especially for us and someone, especially for Ola, where she has family over there, So, yeah.
Zelensky is continuing to ask for help from Israel and all the NATO countries around the world. Now he is asking for plans to be able to protect his cities from the air.
Yeah, the planes that he's asking for. He said, even give us old planes. Don't even give us pilots. Give us something. He's grasping for straws. Sadly, I don't see NATO stepping up and giving him anything and doing anything for him. I think Biden is so scared of World War III happening and so scared of Putin and everything else that he's just going to sit on the sidelines. And it's been days where the violence has been escalating like crazy, and Putin hasn't even added any more sanctions, doesn't he? And not even nothing. Because he's probably sitting around thinking, what else can I do, right? Israel as well sent planes with over 100 tons of like to help out the refugees with I don't know where blankets and food and
drugs.
Over 100 medicines and stuff. 100 tons of equipment. So that was great. Well, this really is something we got to keep our eyes on, especially the Golden Report. We have to, just in case we do have to go after them and help those people out. So right now, the best thing we can all do is pray for the people in Ukraine and Russia and Belarus, all of them. Like you said, they're all suffering. That's something insight with Ola, that she has family in all three countries where financially all of them are hurting now. The ones in Ukraine just have the added pain of all the bombs and death and everything else. So that's a lot more. But they're all hurting. We need to pray for them all. I'll end with something connected just about Israel, and a little bit more upbeat. This Tuesday, Israel dropped all corona restrictions except for a mandatory mask on the inside. Yeah. Everything's dropped. There is no more corona mumbo jumbo, especially tourists who want to fly, who are vaccinated and unvaccinated. There's no travel restrictions. There's nothing anymore. It's all done. No green passport, nothing. So if you guys are watching our videos, seeing the beautiful places here in Israel, and feel like coming to visit, this would be a good time to do it before the next time the government goes crazy.
And also, it's a great time. Spring. It's almost spring. Yeah. It's gonna be amazing weather. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I haven't been putting out a lot of videos lately. Well, this week we've been busy with all kinds of things, with preparations for the boat and everything, as well as we still having bad weather a lot of times where I can't go out and make videos. But I will be going out as soon as possible to get more videos done for you guys. I love doing the videos, and I think you guys watching them. But we need to pray for these people in Ukraine and see what we can do for them. So don't forget to join us on thegoldenreport.com. And until next week, God bless.
Bye-bye.